The office manager, for some reason or another, never bothered to balance until the end of the month. At the end of the month, she would say, hey, this day doesn't balance. This day doesn't balance. I actually went back through the audit trail and checks had been deleted. The claim was still open and it was in the ARs, and they were depositing them to their own personal checking account and did not have one issue with doing that. It started off small, got a little bit bigger by the time I found it.
And how was the doctor's reaction when you told
Not
them?
very happy.
So what happened with the employee?
He went to jail.
We make dental billing and insurance easier to understand. Subscribe to stay updated and help us grow the channel.
One thing that we talked about in the pregame was identifying when things are not kosher. So you mentioned finding embezzlement in one of your clients. First of all, that's a very emotional issue, right? Like when you find it. So walk us through, what did you find? What made you think, wait a second, what's going on here? Talk us through that whole situation.
Sure. So I was posting insurance payments, and the office manager, for some reason or another, never bothered to balance until the end of the month. I don't suggest that at all. But at the end of the month, she would say, hey, this day doesn't balance. This day doesn't balance. Well, my notes were there that I had posted a payment, but I actually went back through the audit trail and checks had been deleted.
Oh.
Yes. So they still, the claim was still open and it was in the AR. So that was actually an easy find. I mean, people are so much more creative than that, but they were just deleting insurance checks and they were depositing them to their own personal checking account and did not have one issue with doing that.
Wow.
So yeah, it started off small, got a little bit bigger by the time I found it. So.
And how was the doctor's reaction when you told them?
Not very happy.
Yeah.
Not very happy.
Was this
at
someone
all.
who'd been there for a long time, or?
It was somebody who had been with the office since inception.
Oh my gosh.
So
That's heartbreaking.
yes, it was heartbreaking. It was, because they were like a family.
So what happened with the employee?
She went to jail.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Well, hats off to that doctor, because a lot of times doctors don't.
They don't want to.
Yeah, they don't want to do it. They don't want to either. I mean, of course, if she's been there forever, they know each other's families. I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on there. That makes me so sad to hear. And doctors do trust managers, especially if you've been with them from the beginning.
I know.
A lot of trust in there.
Right.
Were you with the same doctor for a long time?
I was.
Yeah, same here. I mean, basically, I was happy when he looked over things, but he didn't do it as often as probably I would recommend.
Right.
But I mean, thankfully I wasn't doing anything, but my goodness, would have been probably pretty easy.
Right.
And we hear that from our fellow billers, right? Like they run into this, they can't figure out where these audit trails are coming from. And if you don't know what an audit trail is, every software has the ability to run a report to show the transactions, but you have to have passwords enabled in order, or else the audit trail doesn't show anything, right? So Michelle, you were able to show this person using their password had gone in, deleted the checks, and you could show that time and date and all of that. So my experience has been that doctors get familiar with audit trails only when they have to, not because they're being proactive. So if you're a doctor listening, I would do it. And you know what, if you're a manager listening, I would do it too, because you might be working with a biller or somebody in the office that isn't necessarily on the up and up. So that's another thing. So did this person the person that went to jail, did she not like that you were coming in and doing things?
Did not want me there.
Yeah.
No, did not want me there. Fought tooth and nail, tried to tell the doctor that what I was doing was incorrect and she doesn't know what she's doing, but he held fast. He did. Yeah. He held strong, and it all came out in the wash. Oh. I mean, at that time, when it was initially discovered, everybody was just using random passwords. Like everybody knew everybody's password.
Oh, wow.
So the first thing I had him do was change everybody's, make everybody change their password, and nobody was to know. And that's how we were able to break it down as to who it was, although it was suspected, but.
Yeah. Oh, man. So when you're dealing with a new client or onboarding or whatever, do you ever get the feeling something's up by the reaction of the team?
Yeah. We want to help the front desk. We want to take this away from them so that they can concentrate on patients or not worry about, answering the phones or holding forever on, with an insurance company.
Yeah.
We want to take that away from them. That's what we like to do on the back end. And when somebody just doesn't want that kind of help, that's usually a big red flag for me.
So when I was in office, I would have probably put up some resistance, right? Because I would think, oh my gosh, they're not going to be able to do the job as well as I. Yeah, I mean, that's just natural, right? And
Of
over
course.
time, I've realized that I think to myself, anytime there's new technology or any new services, I always think, well, how would I, as a manager, have taken to this? And there were so many things that I wanted to do that I could have gotten to. I feel like offloading this stuff to people who really love it, especially for an office manager that is not very well staffed at the office. Like, to me, it's just a no-brainer. But how is it convincing a manager to let go? That's something that we talk about a lot on the membership, is change management, right? Like, how do we convince the team we're here to help, not to get them fired?
That's the whole point, is that we want to help them so that they can do their jobs more effectively. They can be there doing treatment plans or with the patients or monitoring staff or, checking supply, whatever it is they have to do. Office managers just wear so many hats. So if this is one less they have to wear, and it's a big hat, it's a big hat, and like, we'll go back to those hold times, right? But I mean, holding for an insurance company can just be an extravagant deal throughout your day. But if we're doing that for them, then they have the time to be able to do those other things. And maybe they can just work an 8-hour day that day instead of 12 hours or having to work overtime to get their claims caught up. That's why we like to do it. I really don't go into it wanting to find fraud or embezzlement. That's not the case. I just do it because I love it. Well, we do it because we love it and just want to help.
If you learned something new today, subscribing is the best way to support the channel and keep learning with us.
Would you like to hear more? Follow the link for the full episode.